Hi, I'm Brandy. This is Hound Dog Hollow, and today today I'm opening up another Kickstarter deck. I made bad choices, and instead of ripping this packaging, I tried to cut it, and it made all this mess. This mess here. Look, it's all over me. All right, let's look at this. So, this is the Emotional Kaleidoscope Introspection deck. Alright, so personal little note for me. Little bag here. Oh, get all this crap. Ooh. EC. Emotional Kaleidoscope Introspection deck. Conscious, preconscious, subconscious. Here's the back. Alright, let's open her up. Alright. Ooh. Introspection through connection. This is really feels good. It's got the velvet touch. It feels so nice. Good. It feels like good quality. And then here it says, open up the heart and mind to perceive and receive. Very cool. So we have Emotional Kaleidoscope. This is where art meets psychology. And it tells you about the creators. So Ruth is the deck creator. Stephanie is the conscious. Michael is a preconscious. And Giovanni is the subconscious. And tells you a little bit about that. And then on the back it tells you just a preface about some guidelines. And it's kind of like, they almost say like you kind of play it with a friend. Not play it, but you, so determine who goes first is a pickup format. Each individual is to pick up a card, read the question out loud, then answer for themselves. Do not interrupt the player holding the card while they're talking. Once they have answered the question, the next person picks up a card and continue until all questions are answered. So I would not use it that way, obviously. I would use it for myself. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of cards. I would use it for myself in the context of deepening a reading. Let's see what we got here. At least that's how I think I would use it. Ooh, I'm going to have to cut it. Ow! It's stronger than me. It might be stronger than my knife. My knife sucks. I'm going to have to have Daddy sharpen it. Okay, there we go. I had a victory, but it was a close thing. They're beautiful. Oh my god, they're beautiful. Let's do the flip through. Flip through and first impressions. That's what this video is. We'll start with what I'm assuming is the light. Let's just go back one more time. So we have, I'm only seeing two colors. So conscious, preconscious. So I'm guessing these are where they start. So this flower is conscious. When I get to this like situation here, that'll be preconscious, and then when I get to the black cards, it'll be subconscious. But this is just absolutely beautiful. All right. Describe your personality in 3 words. And it says conscious too. And the cards are delicious and heavy, and just, this could have so many applications. Explain what your first thoughts were after waking up this morning. Who was the last person you said I love you to? Where was your favorite place to go as a child? Why is this memory so profound to have stayed with you for so long? Was your earliest memory as a child a happy memory? Can you describe why or why not? What did you want to be as a child? Is this something you're doing now? At what age do you feel like you grew up and assumed responsibilities throughout your life? Name 3 major milestones and the ages you experienced those milestones. How long did you keep your inner child alive? Can you explain who the inner child is? At what age did you move out from home? Were the circumstances that made you move what you anticipated them to be? Was it easy to make friends in high school? Are there any factors that need to be considered? Did you have an idea of what your social identity was when you were in high school? How does that compare now? Did your parents have some influence on whether or not you continued to a higher level of education? What family expectations do you believe you need to fulfill? Why? Explain how your parents' parental figure would perceive success. These are all interesting. Describe your family's characteristics. Can you articulate the difference between belonging and fitting in? What traits in a friendship relationship are important to you and why? Have you ever been in love? Do you know what your love language is? Can you explain what nostalgia feels like? Why is love important? What is the most important aspect of love? If you could instantly tap into a state of euphoria, describe what that feeling would be. What is your greatest accomplishment? Who brings out the best in you? How do they achieve this? How do you celebrate success? Do you acknowledge all wins? Can you explain what grief feels like? What do you think happens when you don't grieve after a loss? Talking about death is never easy. What is something that you wish you knew prior to experiencing a loss? Have you experienced a traumatic event that has shaped you into the person you are today? Everybody responds to trauma differently. What are some defense mechanisms you are consciously aware of and use? How do you express your emotions in a healthy way? Are you able to name your emotions? Now we're into preconscious. Explain a time where you've had to neutralize a conflict situation. How do you respond to being challenged? In what ways does being challenged manifest in you? How does your emotional health affect your body? How do you handle change? Can you explain a time when you had to adapt to change unexpectedly? Can you explain the difference between being alone versus loneliness? Can you identify what drains your energy? Do you find it difficult to say no to future plans? Oops, we got 2 here. These cards are beautiful, by the way. How hard is it to create boundaries and to enforce those boundaries with people? Do you only bring up boundaries once you are upset or angry? What are some things you wish you wished had no implications or consequences? Have you ever experienced anxiety? If no, explain what you think anxiety is. Have you ever experienced depression? If no, explain what you think depression is. What can you do to emotionally declutter to create a less anxious environment? Have you ever felt guilty for a decision made? Was it warranted to feel that way? Can you describe what a panic or anxiety attack feels like? Do you understand what triggers these? What is your stance on seeking professional mental health? And then we are into the subconscious, which I think actually makes up quite a bit of the deck. Oh, this is still pre-conscious. Interesting. So half of the pre-conscious are white and half are dark. What type of emotional support do you need when you're not feeling your best? Do the people in your close circle provide emotional support? What types of situations have made you feel like it wasn't okay to discuss how you emotionally feel? How would you discuss mental health issues or stigmas with someone from a different background than you? Was there ever a time in your life where you thought you were impervious to anxiety or depression? Have you ever been in a position where you have had to go against your ideals or values? How do you know if someone respects your boundaries? When was the last time you experienced vulnerability? What do you think vulnerability is? How would you describe what vulnerability is to a child between 7 to 10 years old? That's a good one because I have a 7-year-old. Let me see. I have to think about that, but I want to think about that, so that's always really interesting. Oh, my foot's in the vein. Sorry. I'm just comfortable, and getting comfortable when you're pregnant is super important. Are you aligned with your core values? Ooh. Do you share the same worldviews as someone else in your family? In what way are they similar? Who is the most understanding in your circle? Is this person someone you would turn to for advice? What type of advice are you known to give out to people? What do people come to you for? What are some behaviors you have had to unlearn lately? Can you articulate the difference between coping mechanism and defense mechanism? I think we're finally into the subconscious. Yep, subconscious. Oops, hold on. Got multiple cards. Are you aware of what effects an emotionally traumatic event may have on the mind and body? How aware are you of your own traumas? Have you made the conscious choice to work on this? Are you aware of any suppressed emotions tied to a traumatic experience? Do you know what dissociation feels like? What is your understanding of suppressed emotions? What key function do you think its role is in protecting the mind? Have you ever decided to actively work on healing yourself from a traumatic event? If so, what methods have you felt worked? What form of instant gratification made you feel regretful about the decision you made? What would happen if you were to stop doing your daily routine? Would you consciously reach out for help or wait for someone to notice that you need help? When was the last time you had to psych yourself up to do something? What was the outcome? Can you articulate the difference between abandonment and isolation? Has there ever been a time where someone has imposed their needs onto you? How does this affect you? What coping or defense mechanism do you think you learned vicariously as a child? What measures do you take to ground yourself after an emotional ordeal? What parental figure are you closer to and why? Is your personality similar to the people who raised you? How do you honor the inner child inside of you? Have you explored your true self? What internal conflicts have you identified within yourself? Are you working on them? What is something you wish people acknowledged about you? What feelings have you held on to that you should let go of? What event shattered your trust? Do you believe this has changed your outlook on life? Why? Which of the following influences your decision more, logic or intuition? Have you ever severed the connection of a relationship? Did you want or need closure? What are some key factors that separate emotional pain from physical pain? What do you do considerably well while on autopilot? What is the biggest what if in your mind? What is a reoccurring thought that is always on your mind? What is the bravest thing you have done for yourself? Would your younger self be proud of the person you have become today? What is one major thing you learned about the person you experienced this with? Final remarks for all participants. So, really cool. Really, really cool. The way that I see myself using this is not as a game or a social thing. I'm not into that. Either A, journaling, shadow work. But the most thing I think is when I do readings, I like to have what I call helper cards to add nuance to a topic. And I could see myself pulling a conscious, pre-conscious, and subconscious card for, like, let's say I said, you know, I'm doing my Capricorn new moon reading. I've got an intention. What do I think this, and how do I think this intention is going to go? And then, like, let's say my intention is to, you know, really do this course for my career because I feel like, or to start this business, or, you know, to start a product or something, right? What is my intention? What's the strength of my intention? What's the quality? What are the obstacles? What do I got going on? And then I would add these three things, like, consciously, what do I need to consider? Pre-consciously, subconsciously, what are things that I need to consider as they pertain to this reading? And then pull. So I could see myself using it in and of itself. Like, let me pull 3 cards today. Let me look at this. Heck, you could go through the whole thing and just journal and journal and journal. You could do it with a partner that you just met, in a relationship, with friends, at a slumber party, with your siblings, with your parents, you know, just really interesting, very just feels good, good quality, absolutely lovely, thought-provoking. I'm very, very pleased with this. I'm really excited to work it into my practice. So I'm going to leave the link below for the description of how you can get one of these. As always, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon.